All right, class A, we need to talk about the four irregulars that I've been alluding to in your notes when it comes to comparatives or comparisons of inequality and regular superlatives. You already have notes over comparisons of inequality, and we have the section that says beware of irregulars. And then you will have notes over regular superlatives. Right now you have notes over super superlatives, the isima stuff, but we're going to be taking notes over regular superlatives, and these are the four irregulars that apply to those two things. So please make sure that your heading is nice and noticeable on a new sheet of paper, and here we go. These are your four irregulars, bien, mal, joven, and viejo. You should know that bien means well or good, mal means bad, joven, young, and viejo, old. Because we don't say more good, more bad, more young, or more old, we say better, worse, younger, older. And those words exist in Spanish, like taller doesn't exist in Spanish. You have to say more tall. But you know that there are words for better, worse, younger, and older, and we use those in Spanish instead of these four irregulars. We don't say the most good, the most bad, the most young, the most old, and in Spanish we would say the best, the worst, the youngest, the oldest also, because these words exist. So, do not use más o menos with these four irregulars, and you exchange those four words for these new words. Instead of bien, you use mejor, which means better or best. Instead of mal, you use peor, because that means worse or the worst if you put the in front of it. Instead of joven, we use menor, which is younger or youngest if you put the in front of it. And instead of viejo, we use mayor, because that means older or oldest. So with these green words, we do not use más o menos. Something to keep in mind. These adjectives still have to match the noun, but they usually go before the noun, which is an exception to most adjectives, if it's used directly with it. You guys know that adjectives have to agree in number and gender with the noun that they're describing. Well, these adjectives end in the letter R, and they only have two forms, singular and plural, because they're the same for masculine and feminine. So mejor can become mejores. You add es to these to make them plural. There is no masculine or feminine form. It's just what you see here. And as opposed to black cat having to be cat black, these adjectives usually go before the noun if they are used directly with it. So if I'm saying the best cat, I would say el mejor gato. And that is that. That's what you need to know about these four irregulars. You will not use bien, mal, joven, or viejo with comparisons of inequality or regular superlatives. Instead, you use mejor, peor, menor, and mayor, and you take out más or menos from the formula. All right, so now we just need to attempt a couple of example sentences to practice this. Here's one. This freckle is bigger than that scar. This freckle is bigger than that scar. So this is a comparison of inequality. And as you know, this is our formula for comparatives of inequality. You do not have to write this down. I just have this written here for reference. So this part in gray, you actually do not have to write down. But what I want you to do is use it for reference as you attempt to write out this sentence in Spanish. Okay, so we need to ask ourselves, does this sentence use one of the four irregulars? Is big one of our four irregulars? Well, our four irregulars are good or well, bad, young, or old. So no, this is a normal comparative of inequality sentence. So it's going to follow this formula. Go for it. And then we're going to try this sentence. These mustaches are better than those. This and these have T's, that and those don't. Keep that in mind. And then also, we are using better. We're not going to say more good, we're going to say better. So ask yourself, which one of these irregulars will we be replacing? Well, we're not going to say more good. We're going to say better. So that's the adjective we need in our sentence. And please attempt your sentence in Spanish here, keeping in mind that with these four irregulars, we take out the más o menos and instead just use the appropriate adjective, which is better, which still has to match what it's describing. So write those sentences down with your best Spanish attempt. I think you can do it. Thank you for taking your 4 irregulars notes and practicing with your example sentences. Good job.